Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is D, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Life Lessons card of the Blasted Oak. And when I was thinking about this card yesterday, and I apologize for not posting last night, but again, I'm feeling under the weather. So, that's part of this card as well, right? As being under the weather, being dropped from the limb that you're standing on, more or less, okay? But, when I was thinking about this card yesterday and I paired it up with, the Mirror card, looking at that inner perspective on our inner journey, looking at it from a different perspective, right? You realize that as you're going along on your journey, as you're carrying the responsibility and you've gotten home and you're feeling that comfort level, and, you're feeling good, but at the same time, you're feeling worn down, all right? You understand that from looking at things from a different perspective, that there could be some life-changing alterations along your spiritual path. That could be within a relationship where, you just have that light bulb go off and, you know what? This relationship just isn't fulfilling me. And you now realize that, with that change in perspective, with that contentment that you have within your home period, carrying those responsibilities, you realize that you're healing, okay? And you say, you know what, as I'm healing through this process, I know I have to let go of my significant other, family member that's moved on, empty nest syndrome, however you want to look at it. And I have to look at it, on my spiritual path to say, in order for them to grow, and, I have to let them go. And that's what this tower, this Blasted Oak, gives you that opportunity to say, I don't need to be lashed to these old paradigms, to these old thought ideas, okay, to these old passions that aren't fulfilling me, all right, to these old concepts. And it's once you get that realization that the Blasted Oak happens. You sit back and, you're thinking about it while you're at home and, all the responsibility, and you're like, you know what? This is just, and if this is a work situation, you just say, you know what? It's not something I want to take on. Okay? And you can feel that shift within your spirit. You can feel that shift within your body that just says, you know what? No. I'm not going to take on that responsibility of this relationship. I'm not going to take on that responsibility of going into work to help somebody out. That's not part of what I signed up for. If it's not fulfilling, you realize that, and that's where you're going to take that tumble. Yes, you may fall, all right, off of this tree, or you may climb down. But the biggest thing is, the lashings that are around their wrists and their feet are burned off from where you tied yourself to that oak. And some of us don't even realize it today. As we're moving on our journey, as we're moving on that spiritual path, we find that comfort. We find that those opportunities of, we always want to be of service. We look at those opportunities of, if somebody, if I don't do this, they're going to look down upon it. No, you have choice on your spiritual path. Choice to look for your fulfillment as you're moving forward. Not others' fulfillment just because they have a need. Okay? And, as we're walking along, what happens is these tethers that are along our wrists and our legs, they get thicker and thicker and thicker. And and then when a storm comes, you're the one that's being relied on to help them out during the storm. And the storm comes and nothing gets done, and boom, that piece of lightning just hits that branch. And it's a sudden reflection. And you look at it and you say, you know what? I just learned something. I learned that by saying no, that I can stand up for myself. I look at it from an inner perspective, an inner perception. I let go of some of that contentment, some of that security by saying no. But at the same time, you have to be fulfilled. You have to fulfill your own responsibilities as you're moving forward. And in that moment of when you say no is when you come crashing down. And, sometimes maybe you're able to crawl down out of this tree and not, get hurt by the ground or anything. But in other times, it's going to be like, you know what? I'm falling. I'm going to get hurt here. Okay? And it's going to take a little bit of time to get up off of the floor or off of the ground. If it's in a relationship or something like that where you've made that decision to break away, there's hurt there. There's hurt, there's pain, there's a lot of thoughts going through your head. And you say to yourself, I'm going to be better off from this. I'm free now to walk my own path, to find those that are relatable to me on my spiritual path. And, with the change that's out there right now within the world, astrologically, there's a lot of change going on. This could be that breakthrough moment to set you free, to give you a new perspective on where you want to be in a relationship. It may not happen overnight, it may not happen within the next month, but at the same time, okay, you can start planning for your future in that relationship. Same thing with the job situation. By saying no to an opportunity on your day off, you look at it and you say, this is going to make me stronger. All right? Because it lets them know that you control your fulfillment. It's not that you don't want to help out, you do. But, when things are dire, you just look at it and say, you know what? I need to preserve my own self. And you move on from that, and you hope the employer understands. But we get so trapped within, we're working for a company, and you feel trapped and obligated because, here is your life source of income, that we put those tethers on. And we put our life soul into that company. And they'll be the first ones to lay you off, because manpower is something that they can control to meet their budgets. If you're in a selling industry or anything like that, they can let you go within a heartbeat. There's always that paperwork saying, you know what, we can go ahead and let you go, tomorrow. And then when you give them a 2 weeks notice, they get all bent out of shape. Because you also have that opportunity to just say, you know what? That right to work. I don't want to work here anymore. 2 weeks notice is a courtesy. But if you don't want to be there, just leave. And sometimes it sends a message to the rest of the company, to the rest of the department. I don't want to work with this individual. I'm not coming in for this opportunity. And it's a tower moment that they have, the blasted oak moment that they have to face. So, with the blasted oak, it's that sudden realization, especially after you did that inner perspective yesterday. It's that sudden, inspiration perspective that just lets you know, I don't want to do this anymore. All right? And that's how it's coming out within the reading right now. It's just, I don't want to do this. And, you break those tethers, whether it's through this storm or whether it's through, struggling. And you just, you're going to fall. You're going to have a little bit of pain. Might be a little consequences. But guess what? You're free. You're free to walk away from that relationship. You're free to walk away, from that conversation. You're free to walk away from that position. You're free. Dust yourself off, pick yourself up, and start walking forward. Keep moving on that spiritual path. Don't let, negative things impact you. Keep it positive. Keep it moving forward. And, if in time, maybe you can go back to those relationships and those choices. But right now, it's an awareness. You understand it. And it's like that light bulb going off in your head. It's like, I see how things are going. And it hurts. And you're going to be better for it. So that's today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Blasted Oak. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with others. Give me a thumbs up. This is D for Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. God bless. Stay safe, everybody.